Alright, everybody. Welcome to episode 32 of The Doghouse. I am your host, the Big Dog. Whoa, 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 whoa. Easy. Hey. Calm the fuck down. Alright, there we go. Much better. How's it going, everybody? How is it going? Welcome to the show. As you can see by the title, and I just want to prove it to you guys. Where is it? Here it is. Let me show it to you guys. Give me 1 second. Go to the main screen. Here it is, boys and girls. Your boy has made it past 10 followers. Drop a Don DeMarco for getting past 10 followers, baby. Hell yeah. That's right, people. I've made it past a milestone. Not much of a milestone. I know what you're thinking. That's not much of a milestone. Shut up, alright? Let me celebrate this. And I want to say a shout out to my fans. What very little fans I have. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Because without you, this wouldn't have happened. I would not have gotten here. Because that's what because I've seen a bunch of streamers who treat their fans like absolute shit. And they have like tripled the subscribers I have. Not subscribers, this is Twitch. They have triple the followers that I do. And they treat them like absolute shit. And I don't believe in that. I really don't. I think it's stupid. It's like, if I'm going to pay you for entertainment, the least you could do is be nice to me, man. Come on. But hey, what do I know, right? I'm only at 11 followers. But hey, as soon as you know it, I will be bigger than Ninja. That's right. I'm going to be bigger than Ninja. I'm going to get there. Just a matter of time. But, again, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep saying that because I really do mean it from the bottom of my heart. I really do. You guys have made my night. You guys have made this a lot great. You've made this so great for me. Thank you. Now, on to something else for the day. Because there is a particular person who has become quite the biggest loser today. And yes, I'm talking about one Andre Young, a.k.a. Dr. Dre, who has to pay his wife $300,000 a month in spousal support to his wife. Give my man one of these. That's right, new sound effects, baby. We moving up. But seriously, man. Bruh. Like, how did you get to this point? You know what? Let's find out. At this rate, Dr. Dre's wallet is going to be straight out of cash.
Bruh.
Really, Fox? You just had to do that. Fucking assholes. Anyway, the 56-year-old music mogul was ordered to pay his estranged wife, Nicole Young, $293,306 per month in spousal support beginning on April 1st. Let's just call that a flat $300,000. I mean, that's, sure, why not? Why not? According to court documents obtained Thursday by the New York Post, page 6, the former NWA member will have to keep paying the massive amount to Young until she remarries or enters into a domestic partnership, or as the court orders otherwise at a later date. Oh, Jesus.
Bruh.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know what you guys are thinking. Wow, with the sound effects, really? You gotta be kidding me, man. Talk about losing. Dre was also ordered to continue paying expenses for the California homes in Malibu and Pacific Palisadas that the couple once shared, which makes sense as a source familiar with the case told Page 6 that Dre owns the homes outright. Ooh boy. Ooh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is not looking good for you, Dre. He better start making music faster. His ass gonna be broke. I hope all them songs he produces pays him a handsome amount of royalties. The couple is due back in court Thursday for another hearing. Young, 51, first filed to divorce Dre, 56, in June 2020. The couple was married for 24 years and have 2 adult children, 24-year-old son Troyce and 20-year-old daughter Truly. What is it with celebrities naming their kids weird-ass names? Dre back home after reportedly suffering brain... Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm not going to fully read this because I do want to make a point. Or, let's watch this. Or not. What the fuck? Fuck's sake. Hang on. God damn it. There we go. Shit. Anyway. I can't be having these kind of technical problems, my man. Anyway. The former couple have... blah, 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 blah. Dre began paying Young temporary spousal support 2 months after the filing. Stupid ass move. Don't give her a cent, bro. You can't be doing shit like that. The former couple had a prenuptial agreement in place, and Dre's estimated net worth is currently around $800 million. Whew. They asked a California judge to sign off on legally ending their marriage in April 2021, despite the fact that they were still hammering out their divorce details. Lawyers for Young did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment. Dre's lawyers declined for comment. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Alright, let's look at the comments, because I'm interested to see. Okay, go away. Okay, I don't know, $300 a month is cutting it pretty close. Not sure if that will cover all of my expenses. The fuck? Who are you? And what are you buying that costs $300K a month? That's peanuts, Dre. Dr. Dre can take 1/10 of his net worth, invest in municipal bonds, and pay that for eternity, and get his 90 back in the end. She basically got 4%. I'm gonna make a point about that. Peanuts. She should sue her attorneys. I'm willing to give it. Oh no. Let's show some replies. So she gets this money because why? Because she was blowing him? I don't know how courts have any authority to order this kind of payment being made to someone who chose to leave the relationship. Just like anything else, if people as a whole just said we're not doing it, the laws would change. I'm gonna make another point about that too. No, the laws won't. I'm guessing this is a reply to my man. No, the laws won't change. They would throw his butt in jail. Next, all men would think they didn't have to pay child support. You can bet he didn't. You can bet he did something he shouldn't have been doing. Oh, here we go. He's not fighting it. Cue the girlfriend. Well, he's worth $80 million, so... What's the purpose of a prenup if nobody follows it? Why does she need $3K per month? Good question. The houses she lives in are paid off, and he pays for all services. It will be interesting to see the final amount awarded. I think that was the final amount awarded. Alright, let me make a point about this. Like, So, here's my answer to people that ask me if I'm ever going to get married.
Nope.
There you go. It's not happening.
Nope.
It's not happening. Like, look at what could happen to you, man. You could lose everything, even with a prenup. So don't look at me sideways. So, ladies, you have every right to divorce your husband. I am not saying you cannot. But when you see the divorce rate at, what is it, like 50, 60% or something crazy like that, don't be surprised when men say, you know what, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, man. And you know what? On the subject of divorce, I have a little video here from a few divorce lawyers who are giving relationship advice. Let's see what they have to say. Take it away, guys. Fuck. There we go.
Like the lottery, you're probably not going to win. But if you
Actually, hang on.
marriage is like the lottery, you're probably not going to win.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
But if
I
you
really
win,
couldn't.
what you win is so great that it's worth trying. It's worth buying the ticket.
Nope.
No, it's not.
Taking the ride.
No, it's not. It is not.
You know, 53% of marriages end in divorce in New York State. So if I said to you there's a 53% chance that when you walk out the front door today, you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would either stay inside or at a minimum you would wear a helmet.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Bruh.
I mean, I would wear a helmet.
House. You need to
Shit.
fill out 50 forms explaining that you understand the lead paint disclosures, you understand the loan, you understand everything. You get married, you didn't get a pamphlet. You didn't even get a piece of paper that says, oh, by the way, you just did the most legally significant thing other than dying you'll ever do.
God damn.
The fact that you're entering into this significant legal contract, but most people have zero idea what's actually involved in that contract and spend a lot more time figuring out what kind of cake we should have at the event, is a really strange thing to me.
I agree.
Take marriage seriously.
If you want to be with a person who is social and very outgoing, then don't marry someone who is a homebody.
This is who I want. This is what I expect. If this doesn't work for you, then you may not be the right guy for me. It's critical that those expectations are communicated early.
You're not going to change all that much just because you're getting married. And the person that you're marrying is most probably not going to change all that much either.
I always tell clients you divorce the person you were married to. And because clients come in and they'll say, you know, in this shocked way, say like, I can't believe he's being so vindictive. And I'll say, well, what was he like during the marriage? And they say, well, he was vindictive. You know, I can't believe he's nickel and diming me on all the finances. And I say, well, what was he like with money during the marriage? And they say, well, he was the kind of person that would nickel and dime everybody. I say, well, why would you think he'd be different during the divorce?
One of the most important conversations you need to have with your partner before getting married is about your finances. Doing a prenup forces the couple to have a conversation. With a prenuptial agreement, there is mandatory financial disclosure. Most people are out there making their own money, and by the time they get married, they have...
You see, here's the problem with prenups that they're not telling you. They can get contested. And if they're contested well, they can get thrown out. Look what happened to Dr. Dre. You saw the man had a prenup, and he still got to pay his wife $300,000 a month. A month.
Bruh.
Just, oh, man.
have their own bank
Oh my God.
accounts and, you know, student loans or credit card debts. And those are all sort of important things to know about the person that you're going to marry.
I think what a lot of us are looking for in someone to date is very different than what we're looking for in someone to marry. You know, I've had so many clients who, for example, their boyfriend or girlfriend has a job that is so cool to have a boyfriend or girlfriend doing. A musician, a chef. There's something very exciting about dating someone in that position. But think about what it's going to be like to be married to someone in that position. A chef who works really long hours late into the night. A person who travels for business is on the road, 45 weeks of the year. What makes for a good boyfriend or girlfriend and what makes for a good spouse or partner, especially if you want to have kids, is a tremendously different thing much of the time. When you represent people in divorce, you see good people at their worst. So I've seen, stay-at-home moms who, in the middle of a courtroom, throw something at their spouse.
The biggest mistake.
Isn't that illegal? If there's any lawyers in the chat, please feel free to chime in and give your 2 cents. Isn't that? Because I'm pretty sure that's not a good idea.
Mistake that people make when they're getting divorced is to make this into the winner and loser situation. They get so caught up into standing their ground that they lose focus of what really matters and the collateral damage that's happening around them. The key here is to keep your eye on the prize. It's my job to take your hand and walk you through this path.
Wow. Just think about that, though. I want to go back to what he said. Give me a minute.
Collateral damage that's happening around them. Of
There we
what
go.
really matters and the collateral damage that's happening around them.
That wording that he just used, the collateral damage of what's happening around you. For those of you who are considering marriage, you gotta understand this. When you get divorced, it can destroy your family. I know somebody who's going through who's in the middle of a divorce, and it is ruining them. It's ruining his life. You gotta understand that. Ladies, when you divorce a man and you think it's cool to be all vindictive, understand what you're doing. You are ruining somebody's life. Someone that you, quote-unquote, used to love. Seriously. I never understand why people can act like this.
The key here is to keep your eye on the prize. It's my job to take your hand and walk you through this path, which is very scary, but the goal is to get to the other side.
These guys
not
must
to get
make
stuck
a
in the
bank.
middle. I don't think that you have as much drama, unpredictable day-to-day experiences that you have in divorce and family law.
Being a divorce lawyer has helped me figure out in my own marriage what I'm fighting for and what I really don't want to lose.
I've been a divorce lawyer for 17 years. I still get teary-eyed at weddings. If I was to say to people, what they should try to hold on to is that sense of being the other person's cheerleader and being connected to them.
Okay. You've made your point. You have made your point. Alright, now, let us go to this. Now, I saw this movie I think it was a few weeks ago. This movie came out 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today, this movie came out, Black Widow. Now, I did see this movie, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to review it last week. Why, I have no fucking clue. But, actually, I think I did. I might have. Let me know if I did. Let me know in the chat if I did. But I'll do it again. I don't give a fuck. Black Widow. Oh my god. Where do I even begin with this movie? Oof. A movie, again, that had so much potential for a character who had gained a lot of popularity. The way they did her character in Endgame and then in this movie, oh man. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but it's not good. The cast is fantastic, but it wasn't good. The villain was not very intimidating. The writing is all over the place, and Taskmaster's in this film, but it's not the Taskmaster you expect. And that's as far as I'll go with spoilers. Whew. But would I recommend seeing this movie? I mean, if you're a fan of the character, yes, but don't see it in theaters. Okay, now, what I want to do now is look back at the video that started my little adventure with this podcasting stuff. This was I believe this was the very first episode I did of the Doghouse. It was reviewing the Verge PC build. Now, for those of you who don't know about me, I am an IT guy. I'm not the greatest IT guy in the world, but I know enough to get my job done. When I first saw this video, it bothered me. It bothered me. And looking at it again, I can't believe I'm revisiting this, but let's do this. I'm revisiting this old video, and then I'm probably going to cut the stream. Alright guys, let's do this. Son of a bitch! There we go.
So a few years ago, TC, or Managing Editor, built a gaming desktop, but
Putting your Twitter handle here was not a good idea, man. Because I tell you, after this video, he got fucking flamed.
it's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So let's build a new one.
Another thing, why is Capital One sponsoring this video? Of all companies. Not to poo-poo all over them, but you couldn't get AMD to sponsor this? You couldn't get Asus, Gigabyte, Corsair? Granted, I don't recommend people use Corsair products, but unless they're peripherals.
It's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5.
Why would you play that?
Let's build a new one.
Don't play that game.
You can build a gaming desktop for around $1,000, but I want to go all out, so I spent around $2,000.
Okay, sure, I guess. He's not entirely wrong. You can build a PC for $1,000. I mean, don't get me started about what's going on now, but...
A PC like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So, what do you need to build a desktop?
Sure.
Well, of course, first you need a table.
Bruh.
No shit.
Preferably not metal. If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it, a thermal paste applicator,
No, you don't
an
need
Allen
that.
wrench,
Nope.
You don't need the thermal paste applicator.
Nope.
You don't need an Allen wrench.
some tweezers to tighten up the wires, a Swiss Army knife which
Those are not tweezers, that's zip ties, but
hopefully
fine,
has
I
a
guess.
screwdriver in it, and
No.
Nope.
Get a fucking screwdriver.
And last but not least, an anti-static bracelet, which is to protect you and the parts.
That
These
is
are
a
the parts
rubber band bracelet.
you're gonna need. But more importantly, before we get there, we need to understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another. To better understand the parts that make up a desktop, let's try to understand them individually.
Okay.
The processor is like the computer's brain, a base of
Okay.
calculations that control everything the computer does.
That's true.
The motherboard is like the foundation, serving as a main structure for all other parts to be added to. It also allows the
that's
other
true.
parts to communicate with one another, which also makes it kind of like a nervous system. Graphics cards are responsible for rendering and processing visuals into what you see on screen. Our PC's power supply is of course channeling electricity, in that it adjusts and provides the right amount of energy to keep it running. Last but not least, RAM, or random access memory, and your hard drive are good examples of short-term and long-term memory, respectively. If you want to better understand what kind of computer to build, then first figure out what you want to use it for. A gamer might care more about a graphics card than, say, a video editor, who might want extra RAM to assist with editing large files.
You see, here's the problem with what he's saying. He's not entirely wrong. Yeah, when it comes to gaming, you do want a good graphics card. The thing is, you need to make sure that all of your parts can work together with that card. So let's say you get a high-end graphics card, you need to get a higher end, or not a higher, but a high-end CPU that can keep up with that graphics card. Because if you do not, you're going to experience something called bottlenecking, and it'll hinder your performance drastically.
If you're building a budget build for video streaming, say under $1,000, you want to focus on parts, like a Core i5,
He should not have said that. Video streaming. It's called, like, if you want to call it like a home theater PC, okay, but that's not it.
or Core i3 processor, that require less
I would not use an i3. Don't ever use an i3 unless you're buying like a game, graphics card, not a graphics card, or unless you're building a PC strictly for gaming, or for just like surfing the web or stuff.
energy. They'll be less powerful, but then you'll be able to scale back the cost of several other parts. And if you need help choosing the right parts for your build, there's sites like PCPartPicker.com that help show presets for which parts fit together, which sort of part conflicts you might
Yeah, it is a good idea to use
and
that.
where to find deals on new parts.
I
We have a lot of
recommend
boxes
that.
and a lot of PC parts, so it's best if you unbox them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items, and a
back.
lot of PC parts, so it's best if you unbox them, isolate the
My man tore the shit out of the box. Bro, you can just use that knife.
parts that you really
God
need,
damn.
place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit, and then start working. And now we're really going to start building by adding the motherboard in. Some notes about installing motherboards: they're really delicate, you should be really careful with them, and screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board.
That's the last thing you need to really worry about. The thing you need to worry about is stripping the screws.
I chose Asus's Z370 motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has support for NVMe.
Don't ever buy a motherboard for Wi-Fi, because if you're gaming on this computer, you're not going to be on Wi-Fi.
SSDs,
Trust me.
meaning you can get really fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace that goes at the back of the computer.
It's an I/O shield, bruh.
You always have to make sure that you really hammer it in, because there's no screw, it really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important, because otherwise you can't align the motherboard correctly with the holes. We're just going to start installing all 8 screws.
Okay. So far, so good. It's only
So
going to
next
get
we're going to
worse,
install the
though.
RAM on the motherboard. I chose Corsair's 16GB
Corsair's RAM is overpriced, in my opinion.
Vengeance LED RAM for two main reasons. One, it has LEDs, and we do like lights in our gaming desktops.
I'm indifferent towards it. Actually, hang on.
Secondly, it's pretty fast RAM. It's 2,666 megahertz, I believe, so it's pretty fast, and this motherboard supports that speed, which is most important.
2666 is not that fast. It's actually really slow.
Open the slots first, and just aligning the stick with the
You only got 2 of them, man. Don't open them all.
middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's
And use both of your hands, you freaking lazy cunt.
when the RAM is in. Step 3, we're
Yeah, I said cunt. Sue me.
going to install the hard drive.
I don't know if you can see it. He's got his RAM sticks in wrong. Oh, that's funny.
Or in this case,
That's so
the
funny.
NVMe
Look at that.
SSD. I chose this format of solid-state drive.
You can't really
so that
see
you
it.
can put it into the motherboard without having to
I'll
worry
show
about
you
extra
later.
wires or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy. This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out, and it's only held down by one screw and the latch, so it's really simple and really straightforward. Speed for gaming is important when it comes to a hard drive. You want files to write quickly, and you want games to load quickly, so that's why it's best if you use an SSD.
Sure, I guess. The only thing is SSDs can be expensive, especially now with the whole chip shortage. So I would say if you can't afford an SSD, it's not that big a deal. Most games will run fine off of a spinning drive, but if you can get an SSD, sure, fine.
Okay.
Oh wait, go back.
Write quickly, and you want games to load quickly, so that's why it's best if you use an
Look at it. He's got his RAM sticks in wrong. You're not supposed to do it this way.
SSD.
It's supposed to be
So step
staggered.
4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose PNY's GTX 1080, which is overclocked, and it's
I have never used a PNY graphics card. Can somebody tell me if they're good? I've heard mixed things about
so
it.
it's a pretty easy installation. You're just going to find the gold connectors,
Okay.
and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC case.
Okay.
Now, which lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in the system. I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom and I don't want to cover it. I just think it looks nice.
Nope.
Listen, man. The reason you use the top slot is because usually it'll give you the most bandwidth. Usually. There are some motherboards that have 2x16 slots, but more often than not, the top one gives you the most bandwidth. That's why you use the top one. Although I do understand you not wanting to cover your SSD, because that thing can get hot. Especially with the fucking graphics card on top of it.
Click down. Take your remaining brackets and just put them in the spots that you haven't used. You don't have to screw these in. They get bolted down by the back end bracket.
Depends on the case,
And
but
GPU's
sure,
installed.
why not?
Power supply time.
Oh boy.
I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing GPUs when they come out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is
I mean, usually, yeah, you don't want to use that much, but
take
whatever,
the brick
fine.
and make sure
I
that
won't
you
give him
align
shit for
it
that,
with these
because I admittedly make that mistake too.
insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system. So
The thing is designed so that doesn't happen. You'll be fine.
just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a
You would have been fine if you didn't put it in like this, like a fucking moron.
snug fit.
Good
And
lord.
then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up
I think
against
it's
the
gonna
frame. Now you just take
Ah shit, I pressed the wrong button.
Bruh.
But yeah, dude, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That thing's gonna overheat like a motherfucker. And he's gonna have to replace it in like a
screws,
month.
tighten, and
Or actually, shorter than that.
So next step, we're going to install the CPU core. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later.
Nope.
That should have been step 1, bruh.
Always be a lot of space.
God damn it.
Place it in the system, install the processor, which is going to come a little later.
Should have been
Always be
beforehand.
sure to try to place it in the system first
You didn't put fans on that thing.
before
Oh,
you install
boy.
it, because you can see it takes up a lot of space. But in this case, no pun intended, it
Bruh.
You don't get them bullshit puns out of here, bruh.
fits in perfectly, and we're gonna start screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about this screwing process. They're just really long screws because they go
Oh,
through the
God.
entire frame of the cooler, and they take forever.
Yeah, because you're using the wrong screws, bruh.
So next up, cables. Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables. It's kind of daunting at first, so you always have to find the ones that are going to fit. In this case, you need to match those cables with the correct descriptions on the power supply. Next step is we're connecting the power supply to the motherboard with the 24-pin cable. We're just matching that cable from the motherboard, threading it through the back, and attaching the 24-pin header to the power supply so that we can have one of the connections complete. The next few additions will be for the GPU, for any specific ports that the case has, for any lighting that the case has,
Man, that looks terrible.
the CPU cooler, anything else really.
You probably should show that, because... the problem with this thing is that it doesn't assume that... It already assumes people know what they're doing. Or at least that's what the editing's telling me. Is that they're assuming people already know what they're doing, which, let's be realistic. Anybody watching this is not going to know what they're
We're
doing.
installing the CPU, the heart of the computer, or the brain, depending on how you look at it.
It's the brain.
So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard.
Oh no, he's...
We're just going to take
Oh
this little
no,
plastic
don't do it.
part
Don't
out.
do it.
Just toss that out of here.
Motherfucker.
Nope.
Bruh.
You're not supposed to do that.
And now we have
Don't throw the thing away.
closed CPU holder, or rather slot, on the motherboard.
It's a socket,
And
my
we're going to
G.
use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this motherboard
Yo, what the fuck?
that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one, and it's an 8th generation chip, and it's ready to go, and it supports overclocking. So what happens?
I don't trust him to overclock this. He might set that PC on fire.
This little installer does for you is it's basically a brace that you
Don't
can
use that,
apply
man. You don't
right
need to
the
use it.
CPU and light it up with the
Like,
triangles.
installing a
that
CPU is extremely simple.
on the bottom left corners, and this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard, and then apply thermal paste, and then apply a CPU cooler on top. And we're just going to carefully lean it down
Don't
into
push
the
it
system
down, you
and make
fucking
sure that
asshole.
everything lines up, and we're going to clasp down on it, and we'll be good to go. So that everything lines up, and we're going to clasp down on it, and we'll be good to go.
You didn't even use the fucking thing.
Bruh.
Yo. You didn't even use the thing.
So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU.
Oh god, not this part. I forgot about this part. God damn it.
Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied
Not all of them do. A majority of them do, but not all of them.
in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's
Yes, it is. Is it the highest of quality?
Nope.
It's not. If you're just looking for something to get the job done, sure. But it is not the highest of quality. That's why people sometimes wipe it off and then put their own on. You don't add extra.
good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
And you don't do it like that.
The
Good
other
lord.
portion is to add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So
Oh, Jesus.
Bruh.
Yo. Oh, no. Why'd my man have to bust a nut on that IHS, man? Jesus. Come on, man. I know I've been horny, but not that horny.
you're gonna see
Control
the
yourselves.
brackets, or rather like screws in here with brackets and holders right here.
Oh,
And
Lord.
we're going to keep the cooler raised off the processor, but it's also going to be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it, like basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws like this and just screw them on.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to know how to do it when I can't see you doing it. But
So
I won't
another
blame you for that. That's your
internals
editor's fault.
Put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass, front glass, and of course the back panel where all of this fun stuff is happening. So we fully built the piece.
Wait a minute. That's funny.
See, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen.
No fucking way.
So what's next? Well,
That's not what happened. Don't lie to me. You fucking turned it on, it didn't work the first time, and then you had somebody else rebuild it for you, and then it started working.
you need a USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it,
Okay.
and of course a license key.
Technically, no, you don't.
So I plugged
You can jerry-rig that shit. I'm not gonna tell you guys how, but I want to see
that up.
if he's
installed
actually
Windows
running.
in a couple of minutes.
I want to see if he's actually running 16 gigs of RAM instead of 8, because he's probably running 8.
Installed a bunch of drivers,
Windows Update did it for you, bruh.
and now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games. Right now I've got Armor 3 running at maximum settings, native resolution, which is 1080p HD, and it's running pretty smoothly. Like, I'm averaging 70 and 80 FPS, and this is normally like a very intensive game to run, and it's still doing a pretty good job. So right now I'm playing League of Legends. It's one of my favorite games. I'm actually playing against a bot, and I'm distracted, so I'm not actually doing so well. But,
I gotta do it again.
Bruh.
Dude, League of Legends is not a game for benchmarking computers. It was designed to run off of the crappiest computer. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever been to, like, college, or been to a college or any kind of school where they had, like, a computer. Like, they had one of those computer labs where they had those really shitty computers. Those computers could probably run this game. Actually, they could. I remember because I had a bunch of friends that ran them off of those computers. It was hilarious. But yeah, this game is not designed for benchmarking. If he wanted to benchmark a game, he should have ran like GTA 5, Witcher 3. What's another one? There's another game that's a really good benchmarking game. Excuse me. Shit. It's escaping me right now.
otherwise, like, this is pretty much what you would see me do on a gaming computer. Test stuff out, and hopefully have really high frame rates like I am right now. I'm averaging 120 FPS, and that's only because I've actually locked the game.
Now, why would you do that? If you're benchmarking this PC, don't you want to see its fullest potential? Why would you block the game?
That frame rate, because I can get around 300 FPS playing League on maximum settings, which is a little bit absurd, and you don't really need that, so
It's not that you need it, but it's nice to have. Plus, you probably wouldn't notice it anyway.
Oh, I locked it. Building a gaming desktop has been a great experience. I'm able to max out a lot of my favorite titles, and I'll be able to play a lot of upcoming titles like Battlefield 5 and Cyberpunk 2077 without...
Ugh. That just breaks my heart, man. Oh boy. Oh boy. That breaks my heart. Still can't believe that was the video that started it all for me. But, hey. All's fair in love and... no. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was... Again, I cannot say this enough. Thank you to all of you that got me to 11 followers. Next milestone is 50. And after that, I'm gonna be bigger than every other Twitch streamer that you know. Mark it down, because it's gonna start today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 32 of The Doghouse. Thank you again for joining me. I'm gonna see you next time. Peace out.